Al Capone's life at Alcatraz was a major change from his incarceration at the U.S. Penitentiary in Atlanta, where Capone received special treatment and privileges. Luxury cell, private phone, home-cooked meals, unlimited visitors, cash to pay off guards. Upon his arrival at Alcatraz in August 1934, just weeks after the prison opened, the man once known as public enemy number 1 was stripped of his identity and became simply Prisoner 85. Unlike his previous incarcerations, at Alcatraz, Capone was granted no special favors and was forced to conform to the same monotonous, grinding routine as every other inmate. Capone's pastimes during his leisure time seemed out of character for the notorious crime boss and surprised many. His day at Alcatraz began in his cell, where he was subject to the same strict morning routine as every other inmate. 6:30 a.m. Morning whistle. Capone wakes up, makes his bed, gets dressed, cleans his 9x5 cell including the toilet, and prepares for first count. 6:50 a.m. First count. The second whistle signals the beginning of the first official inmate count of the day. Capone stands at his cell door, facing outwards. Guards perform inspections, and first of approximately 13 daily official counts takes place. 6:55 a.m. Another whistle signaled the prisoners to step out of their cells and form a single file line in preparation for the march to the mess hall. 7 a.m. breakfast. Al Capone and other inmates marched to the mess hall for a 20-minute silent meal. Meals were taken in the communal dining hall, nicknamed Times Square, with other prisoners and staff. Al Capone, who had been accustomed to a diet of home-cooked meals at his previous prison, now ate at the same table as other notorious inmates like George Machine Gun Kelly and Albert Bates. A typical breakfast could have consisted of oatmeal, milk, fried bologna sausage, cottage fried potatoes, toast, and coffee. Inmates were able to take as much food as they wanted, but they must finish all of their food or they risk losing their next meal. 7:25 a.m. Work call. Prisoners proceed to work sites in the industries, buildings, or on maintenance details. Despite his celebrity and former status, Capone was not exempt from performing menial labor. He was assigned to do prison chores such as sweeping corridors, mopping floors, and, most famously, working in the prison laundry in the Model Industries building, washing cloths and military uniforms. Work was a central component of an inmate's day, and it was considered a privilege that had to be earned. This profound demotion from commanding an empire to scrubbing floors and washing other people's cloths. 11:30 a.m. All work stops, and inmates line up in front of their respective shops for the midday count before lunch. 11:40 a.m. Another 20-minute silent meal in the communal dining hall. A typical lunch could have included split pea soup, roast pork shoulder with sage dressing, mashed potatoes with gravy, stewed corn, apple pie, bread, and coffee. A former inmate recalled that spaghetti with a meat sauce was a favorite. 12 p.m. Noon lockup. All inmates are marched back to their cells for a lockup and count. 12:20 p.m. Back to work. Capone is unlocked and returns to the Model Industries building for laundry work detail for the afternoon session. 4:15 p.m. End of his 8-hour workday with another count. 4:25 p.m. Supper. Final 20-minute meal of the day. A recorded dinner menu from March 13, 1956, listed grilled frankfurters and buns, parsley potatoes, buttered carrots, sauerkraut, and banana pudding. 4:50 p.m. Final lockup. Al Capone returns to his cell for the remainder of the evening and night. This time of day was considered leisure time for the inmates of Alcatraz. Outside of his work detail, Capone found solace in the limited recreational activities available. He became a serious reader, with his selections from the prison library indicating an interest in self-improvement, including books on proper English, music appreciation, and even flower gardening. He also subscribed to a large number of magazines. On Saturdays and Sundays, inmates were allowed onto the outdoor recreation yard, where Capone participated in activities like playing baseball, horseshoes, checkers, and dominoes. His most notable pastime, however, was music. Inmates were allowed to practice musical instruments for up to 75 minutes during this time. Capone begged the warden for permission to form a small band, and was eventually granted his wish and allowed them to practice up to 45 minutes a day. The band, named the Rock Islanders, gave regular Sunday concerts for the other inmates. He famously played the banjo and a mandola. This pursuit was so important to him that he wrote to his son about the songs he had written, offering words of wisdom and encouragement. His adoption of such a gentle, domestic hobby, the opposite of his violent criminal past, demonstrates a profound psychological adaptation to a world where his former identity was meaningless. The man who once commanded ultimate respect through fear was now reduced to a faceless prisoner. Prisoner, 85. Finding a new sense of purpose in the confines of his new, powerless existence. 9:30 p.m. Lights out. End of Capone's leisure time for the evening. Counts continued throughout the night at 1 minute after midnight. 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Prisoners who earned the privilege of outside recreational time. They were granted up to 5 hours of outdoor time on weekends and holidays. The ultimate confinement for Al Capone was not institutional but biological. Upon his imprisonment in Atlanta, he was diagnosed with syphilis, a condition he had contracted in 1919 but had refused to treat due to embarrassment. By the time he arrived at Alcatraz, the disease had progressed and was too far gone. The prison's doctors attempted to treat him by infecting him with malaria in the hope that the fever would kill the syphilis, but this proved ineffective. The progression of neurosyphilis in Alcatraz led to a host of debilitating symptoms. Capone exhibited intermittent madness, marked by severe mood swings, cognitive dysfunction, irrational behavior, and a shuffling gait. He suffered from delusions, believing at times that he was the owner of a factory with 25 employees and wearing a winter coat in a heated cell because he was under the delusion that it was winter. His condition continued to deteriorate, leading to generalized tonic-clonic seizures. By his final year, he was confined to the prison hospital. He was officially released from the federal prison system on November 16, 1939, after serving 7.5 years. Medical examinations concluded that his mental state had regressed to that of a 12-year-old child. He retired to his Florida estate and died of a stroke and pneumonia in 1947.